they know they can't win this thing on election day. And so the excuses are already starting to be laid in place
Yep,
for
and we'll get
taking
there. I mean,
control of the election and yeah, rigging it, etc. And
I
that's
did.
exactly where it's going because there's no way out. He can't rally his way out of this. Um, and most of these incumbent Republicans are now in a no-win situation, no matter which way this goes. Now they've got
So
zillions of dollars.
and that can get you
So
close, as we've seen
yeah,
year after year. The
yeah.
one thing, and I think you addressed Sam's question earlier, but Sam from Texas wanted to know, does Trump just not care what the reaction is to what he says and does? At some point, he's got to like try to win, right? Is it because he doesn't care or he doesn't believe that it's not working? What I think he means there is, does Trump actually believe that what he's saying when he says golden age and winning, does he believe that actually everyone is listening to him? I think you covered this, but remember, this is a guy who really understands what plays well on TV and actually understands how to get an on, like, or used to before he kind of fell off. Like he used to be able to kind of judge this stuff pretty well. I I agree with you. I don't think it matters what he says or does anymore.
No, it doesn't. And his view, I think their view is to stoke the MAGA base as much as they can, rev up that the election's going to be stolen and or and that they've got to declare that it's going to be taken, declare to basically do an executive order or something, and then rally those people. Remember what happened on January 6th. That, well, this is what is going to rally them to, defend the polls, all that stuff, and just have a chaotic, crazy election where you stoke fear into people and hope they'll stay home. And
Well,
you come out, and that's where I think this is all that and it's clear already they're doing the China. I know
yeah.
you want to
Well, the
get to
China
this.
thing wanted to get there. Yeah. So we're starting to see there's a draft executive order that's like 17 pages long declaring that China interfered in 2020, even though I think in 2020 a report came out saying they didn't, but that doesn't facts don't matter. Joe, basically, this is you got to have proof of citizenship and photo ID at polls. It's all the draconian stuff that they're going to try to implement. But there's a big problem here, man. And don't the states control this? Like, what is an executive order going to do? Does it matter?
Well, I mean, the states control what actually happens on a lay, but look, he can send in the ICE, the guard, the military to guard the polling places, whatever, because he can do that. And we've seen how Pritzker, Waltz, and others, governors that had to deal with this couldn't, they still came in. They see we don't want you, all that stuff. So no, I mean it's going to be that. Yeah, there's but all that is the clash. So now you're seeing images of the guard out or ICE in front of polling places because you've been told that China's stealing the election. I mean, it's just and therefore there won't be any mail-in ballots because I don't know, maybe the Chinese will infiltrate the postal system, whatever it is that they're going to claim. But yeah, this is 17 pages, and the whole mandating proof of citizenship and ID sounds great, but when you do this, this thing is all messed up. I mean, married women who have whose birth certificate has one last name and their passport, if they have one, 52% of the American people don't have a passport, a valid passport, 52%. So you just look at some of the craziness that this is going to create. So you have to prove citizenship. Well, that's either your birth certificate. Last time I checked, the driver's license doesn't do that. And so it's either your birth certificate, your you, your passport that 52% of Americans don't have, and then let's argue that a woman who was, a married woman who has a passport with one name and a birth certificate with the other, it's going to be, this is really going to hurt a lot of, I mean, really be an obstacle for a lot of people. I think you're right. Obviously, in a lot of the states that matter, the secretaries of state, and we saw this in Georgia, when people had to stand up there, the Secretary of State did. I mean, the election officials stood up and said no, and recounted things over and over, and fought, for to prove that those results are accurate. And they're still trying to do it because the Georgia election division was the FBI went in there. So they're doing all these things that I think people need to take very seriously where this is going to go. They're telegraphing it again. And every time Trump and these guys telegraph stuff, it usually, take them at their word. They're going to do this. There's going to be some declaration of China interference. So now it's the China hoax. I don't know. It's going to be, that's what's going to be happening, where people won't even be able to know what's
Right.
true because their government will be lying to them.